Hello, sir.
Hey, you.
Hey, thank you for starting a new jar of peanut butter.
Twice now, back to back.
Back to back. No, I did the
Yeah,
other one.
you did
I did
not.
the other
You
one.
did not.
The other big one, yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You didn't. And you know why? Do you know why?
You tell me your reasoning.
Because the craft one was almost done, and I opened the Adams.
You didn't, because that was the day that I brought it up here because I needed a quick snack, and it took me 10 minutes to stir it up.
You might have had to re-stir it, but I opened it, stirred it, and put it in the fridge the night before.
Okay, well, it was
so our listeners
not
listening to us
at
get divorced.
all-
Our listeners listening to us get divorced because I will die on this hill. Because the jar before you gave me
Grief.
trouble
Yeah.
for not doing it, so I did it the next jar and this jar.
No.
Oh my God,
The
we're getting
last
divorced.
one
We're
was
getting
the
divorced.
last
We're getting divorced.
The last one was when I brought it up here, and you said,
Cool.
well, maybe you should stop having celery for your
Right.
snack.
So that's right. That one, you're absolutely right. I did. There is another jar that you are omitting. It's a 2-pack.
No.
We didn't know. You can't say no. Like it happened.
No.
No, that's not a response.
That jar that I just did is still empty, or like we're still working on it. It's just getting empty.
Like I gotta go find an apartment. I gotta like pack all my stuff. It's not all gonna fit in my truck.
Well,
so it's gonna be 2
since
trips.
We're on this topic, I don't spit in your face.
What?
You said I spit in your face.
Oh yeah.
Just now. Right before we came in here.
Yeah, what was it about?
Well, because I couldn't find that Boo thing you bought me.
Yeah, I'm solutions oriented. You're right. And you spit in my face with my solutions. You went, I don't like your solution. I'm going to throw away the solution you found me the problem I've been complaining about. That's what I meant by spit in my face.
I didn't throw it away. I just lost it.
Where is it?
That's very different. If I threw it away, I'd have an idea of whereabouts it could possibly be. In the garbage or wherever. I have no clue where it is. I've just lost it. Anything smaller than, well, even a computer I've lost. So anything
apparently
smaller,
a jar of peanut butter escapes your notice too.
If it's not attached to me, it's losable.
Yeah, I've seen what you do with the children when we travel.
Yeah, even my children I've lost. So exactly.
I don't know if I can do this today. I am agitated about the peanut butter. I'm not going to lie. Because I stirred that stupid jar for 10 minutes.
I know.
Both of them.
No.
You can't just say no.
Because I just did it.
You just admitted you can't remember.
It's just the jar. Where I put something, this is very different because it was just the other day. If it was like a month ago, but the thing is, we go through peanut butter.
What does it feel like when you're having a stroke? Because I'm pretty sure I'm having one.
Face is all red right now.
Yeah, I'm agitated. I'm not gonna lie, I'm agitated. I'm usually pretty easygoing.
What?
This annoys me.
Why?
This annoys me.
I wonder if Maya doesn't want to go to Chicago because we lost her at that airport.
What?
Well, we were just talking about Chicago.
I can't move past the peanut butter.
Why are you so annoyed?
Because
you're wrong. That's why.
I'm not wrong. And that's what's annoying me. I'm okay taking it on the chin if I'm like, yeah, that was my bad. Like when you did it, I was joking around, but I'm like, yeah, she's right. I shouldn't have done that. So I made sure I didn't make that mistake again twice.
Okay. Do we have 3 jars of peanut butter in there now? Not including the craft, 3 jars of Adams?
Potentially.
The only way that's possible is if there's 3 jars of Adams in the fridge right now.
No, because one was a craft. Then it went to Adams. Then it went to Adams.
Yeah. So that Adams I opened.
Which one?
I will admit you put it in the fridge, but it was not upside down. It still had the plastic on it, or like it had not been opened. So I had to open it because I had to hammer.
Dude, we are living in alternate timelines.
Okay.
This is actually fascinating to me at this point.
Anyway, moving on.
I've told you I can't. But we can talk about Chicago.
Yeah. I wonder if that's why Maya doesn't want to fly by herself.
I don't think she has any memory there of the Chicago thing.
Yeah, she does. She talks about how I traumatized her losing her in the Chicago airport.
Ask her for details. What did the Chicago airport look like? Where was the last place you remember seeing her mom? I guarantee she's recalling
cheesecake thing.
She's recalling our interpretation of the story. than her memory of the incident, for sure.
Possibly.
For sure. And I know this because this family, 75% of this family, not great with memory details, like the peanut butter.
I remember the peanut butter though. I remember because it was just the other day. And what's crazy is that we're already on to another jar of Adams. Like we're talking Costco size Adams. Like, is it 1 kilogram? Huge jar or 2 kilograms? I don't even know. Massive jar of peanut butter. We go through a lot.
That's good stuff.
It is so good.
I don't like the crunchy. I'm not a crunchy peanut butter guy.
I love crunchy.
I know.
You know what is also amazing? The cheese buns that I just made. I've never had anything so good before. And just the crispy outside and the soft inside is very good. The rest of the stuff is not that great. Anyway, any other news for the day?
Not that I know of. I had a kink in my neck from walking the dogs.
Oh, still, hey.
Oh, yeah.
You really messed it up.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No, because I was just walking and breathing and my body decided, nope.
Well, that's what happens when you get old.
It's true.
Getting old.
Don't look at my beard when you say that.
I totally did.
You said you're looking old, and then you looked at the gray in my beard.
Well, you look like Elvira. Is it Elvira? Like her hair with the black and then the white streaks. Is that Elvira?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what your beard looks like, is her hair.
Cool, man. This is off to a rip-roaring start so far.
Hey, I'm not lying. You see it every day. It's not like it's a new news flash for you.
No, it's not a new news flash. I have gray hair in my beard. A lot of it. Gray hair on my head, what little hair I do have up there.
Yeah. You okay?
No, I'm like, I'm creating a list of like, I gotta call a lawyer and I gotta see if I can crash at a buddy's place tonight.
Of all of the things, that's the thing. That's really what
that is it. That's the proverbial straw right there.
I'm sure there's other things that I do but yeah, I've never seen you so agitated.
Because again, I will legitimately take my lumps when I'm an idiot. No problem. I'm like, yeah, I'm an idiot. But man, to not get credit when I actually do it right, that's a kick in the pills. I'm not gonna lie. What's on the docket today, my soon-to-be ex? No, I'm kidding.
I was going to talk about what I was just listening to Russell Barkley, who is like guru ADHD, and just this phenomenon. It's not just for ADHD, but something that we're seeing with this generation of early arrival, late departure of adolescence.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So just, I guess the question is, what do we see? Like, what are the signs of that? So, I mean, the late departure is easy. It's just these kids are never leaving their parents' house, right? Like they're.
Yeah. Yeah, we've already had that threat levied at us. So okay, yeah.
So signs, and then what we can do, right, to help support our kids' development. I mean, the early arrival stuff is going to come. That's just where our kids are being exposed to.
Yeah, I think that's. So is the thought that ADHD kiddos are more susceptible to it, and that like to the external influences that are making them enter adolescence earlier?
Well, that was something. No, and that's what I'm saying. It's not about just ADHD. We're saying with this generation of kids, we're seeing it. Before we would talk about adolescence just because their brain development was slower, and so they had that delay. But we're actually seeing this across this generation. A little bit of millennials, but definitely our Gen Zs and Gen Alphas. So kids born 1996 later, essentially.
Kids born after we graduated high school, you mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Kids who were essentially like, when we look at, 2012 was when pretty much most kids, teenagers had a smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
And so they really grew up, right, with that phone once they hit those teenage years. And now it's just younger and younger, like they're getting it when they're babies. But the early arrival is just earlier puberty, earlier exposure to adult concepts, usually through technology, right?
Yep.
Because they are being exposed. We know even like porn and stuff, it's younger and younger. And then late departure is just their emotional maturity, independence economically, even to be able to move out of the house. And so even, a 25-year-old might look like an adult physically. They're actually functioning of like a 16, 17-year-old.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just looking at, with ADHD, there is that executive functioning delay, that part of the prefrontal cortex, but we're seeing this amongst the generation as well.
The irony being, and this is a gross oversimplification, but I'm sure in some ways the ADHD kids or generation have more support to deal with this than just the typical, right? The neurotypical kids that are just going through the same stuff, right? Like you gotta think when you look at this, the worst, and I'll use the adult content stuff, right? Because you're absolutely right. That is prevalent. Like when you look at one of the biggest challenges for kids these days, and I didn't know this until recently, but apparently Roblox is brutal for people soliciting kids and all sorts of bad stuff.
Yeah. And AI, like AI exposure and stuff.
Yeah, that was never a thing for us.
No.
The worst that I would have been exposed to as a kid when I was growing up was
Rainbow Road on Super Mario Kart. Stupid Rainbow Road.
Well, I was thinking like my cousin's Playboy magazine got left around, and that was the first time I would, you know what I mean? Like that, it was happenstance. It was chance if you came across it for the most part. Now it can be pushed towards them at any point. So I'm not surprised that they're entering it sooner and they're not in a developmental state to process it. And we've talked about it previously, like it rewires their brain in terms of how they view adult relationships, sex, all sorts of stuff. Yeah. So you would have to assume, using that as the example, that is pretty much every aspect of it. Like everything is being forced upon. There's no point in the day that kids, near adolescent kids, there's no point in the day that they are not having some sort of idea or item or something pushed upon them from advertising that's unsolicited. Like worst case back in the day, you leave the house, the radio has ads in between songs.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm a Toys R Us kid. Like,
right.
Yeah,
we know we're the jingle generation. Like that's the only thing that would stick in our brains. But these kids, bus stops, television screens in the back of cabs, cell phones, tablets. You go into schools now, and some schools have television screens that are rotating, calendar updates, and that's all a form of push notification, push communication that these kids can't control. So
even billboards, we're lucky because there are rules where we live where billboards aren't really allowed.
They're not, but they're
points of the city. But you go to like the States and oh my God, or like other places,
the whole freeway. It's
like
brutal.
Everything is just billboard.
And it's getting that way here, but not to the same degree, right? Not to the same degree. But yeah, you can't go to a bathroom in a restaurant without having something pushed upon you with an ad in your face, whatever.
Or even just that family we drove by the other day who had like TV screens in the back of their.
Oh, huge.
And like the kids each had their own screen, huge. And
it was lighting up the whole back of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And it was probably the tiniest mom I've ever seen behind the wheel of the biggest Ford I've ever seen.
She even had a screen in front of her. But anyway.
That's right. She had a screen and her phone. So
as she's driving.
You have to think like, it's no wonder, like just straight up, it's no wonder. There's no control or no pacing of the developmental arc anymore for kids to be able to process and learn and figure out how to do it. And then you layer on that, certain situations where parents are over involved in their kids' lives. That's another brick in the wall, right? That's another reason that these kids aren't developing. And so sure. And then you get to the later stages, the economic situation is we're watching probably one of the most destitute generations come into adulthood, because what do they have in front of them for the most part, right? They're not talking about buying cars. They're not talking about buying houses, right? Unless their parents are well enough off to travel, they're not traveling, right? Education doesn't guarantee good job or stable life. right?
But you absolutely must have it,
You
but
must
it
have it,
still
but at the
doesn't
same time,
guarantee.
you're accepting the fact that you're going to be saddled with a considerable amount of debt before you even get going, and aren't likely going to find a job in your preferred right discipline. So, like, you stack all these things up. There's this developmental slow as they come into adolescence, and then there's just no wonder they're hiding, right? Like, I think their brain is probably at some point just saying enough's enough, and they just plateau because what is out there for them to develop? How do they develop? Like, I emotionally, it's just got to be draining to watch these kids. Now, I don't know. It's yeah. I mean, I can completely understand that that's valid for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
There's something in there I was going to say, but I've forgotten. So I'll just keep going. So how it's manifesting, what we're seeing. I mean, yeah, with the screen stuff, well, just like that one guest that we had, I mean, the number one product on these phones and things are porn,
Yeah.
right? Which is mind-boggling. So what we're seeing in kids driving, they're getting their driver's license later and later, like not until they're actually adults, if they're even interested in driving at all.
Yeah.
So that's a huge one. They're just not. And that's like, we think about these huge milestones or rituals that we go through as kids. They're not going through them. Like driving, the day I turned 16,
I couldn't get in there fast
I
enough.
got my driver's license,
Yeah.
right? And that's a huge, is it, what do they call those?
Milestones?
No, like the ritual when you go into like manhood.
Like your bar mitzvah?
Well, yeah, but they're called something specific.
Your rite of passage?
Rite of passage. Yeah, kids don't really have that anymore, right? And there's other places in the world. I think is it Norway maybe, or the Netherlands, where they drop their 12 or 13-year-old like in the middle woods. In the woods, and they have to find their way home. Yeah. Right. So like those things are really important for our kids, and they're just not passing through them. Basic things like driving. Financially, they just don't have the money. Mm-hmm. So they are living home. And I do think, I mean, the work we've seen kids, teenagers who are taking a gap year to save money, but they can't get a job. Yeah. Like they're hooped. And that's just kind of, it's just tricky.
That in itself is another rite of passage, right? The independence that comes with going and having your own job and your own money and managing your own aspect of that aspect of your life. A lot of kids aren't getting it until later and later and later.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, even Willow at 14, I already had like 2 jobs, maybe even 3 already at 14, plus babysitting. Like I always had from the time I mean, 8 years old, I know now is young to babysit. That's when I started babysitting, but I always had a source of income from a very young age. But
and babysitting in itself is a weird thing these days.
Yeah.
Because everybody she babysat, the parents were still there.
I know.
Which I find fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like, again, another example of parents are just too involved. Like,
yeah.
Anyways, like when we were the age to be babysat, my parents forgot they had kids as soon as they left the house. Like they exited the house and we ceased to exist to them totally. For 3 to 4 hours for the price of $60, $40, whatever it was.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen now. The amount of time she come home, go, yeah, they were just in the other room. It's like, so what are you babysitting?
Yeah. And like one family, like all 3 parents, because there's 3 parents living together, like all 3 of them are there.
It was weird.
It's so weird. I don't get it. I'd be like, see ya.
Yeah, bye.
Huge skills gap. Yeah. So in-person communication, they just don't know because they're using text and all of these shortened, they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to express themselves well in person, right? They just don't have that. And then even just lack of readiness, lack of independent skills. And so that's one that I think we've done really good with. And I know we've talked about it on the podcast before, getting them to make their own doctor's appointments. And Maya's now doing her own dentist. She's like, yeah, I'm going to go find my own dentist. And so being able to take responsibility, Willow had her bank account, her card stolen. So she had to call the bank. So, like those
are life skills that you need.
Yeah. And they don't know how to write a check. They don't know how to, balance or maybe e-transfer they can maybe do. But
in their defense, I'm not sure I remember how to write a check. It's been a while. Like it's been a minute.
I write checks all the time. So
I don't even know if I have physical checks anymore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I do. And fax, I still fax. I know how to do that. I know. Yeah.
Are you trapped in 1998?
I think so.
Oh.
But anyway, they don't know how to do those little things. And I think we take it for granted. It's so easy for us, but these are things we need to teach our kids. And even with social media, right? we should be talking out loud. Every time I pick up my phone, oh, I'm just going to do Duolingo, or oh, I'm just going to check. I'm usually pretty good because I don't want them thinking that I'm sitting and scrolling. They do know that I'm not a sitter and scroller,
Unless it's sourdough related.
sourdough related. But even then, I'm saying I'm just looking at how to shape the sourdough,
Yeah.
or I'm just figuring out when I need to take out the bread. So I'm being very purposeful when I go on my phone and talking out loud about that. And then, if I were to go on, well, I don't go on social media, but if I were to go on to social media, I would be very purposeful with that with the kids too. Oh, I just want to send my pictures to, like, let's send our pictures from the weekend to grandma,
Yeah.
right? Or let's check in Uncle Arnie's birthday or his trip, or, like,
Yeah.
being very purposeful that we're going on there for a reason. And like that would be a way to sort of show them how we use it. It's not just sitting and scrolling mindlessly, because
Yeah.
I think that those things. So some of the contributing factors, you've definitely talked about it, technology, screen time. So, I mean, that just affects even things like sleep quality. It's changing those executive functioning skills. It is rewiring their brain. And so
Mhm.
all of these skills, their self-regulating brain, getting started on things, planning things, it's being delayed because of technology. The checklisted childhood. So this is an interesting one. So we know the helicopter snowplow. I like the curling
Yeah.
parenting. It's kind of like that. So high parental involvement, and it's a to-do list style of parenting is really kind of what that is. And so they're not thinking independently. They're not, well, no, there's no autonomy. There's no thinking skills, right? They have so much anxiety, they're avoiding things. They never actually have to face things. So all of those problems
Yeah.
that we've already talked
And they
about.
just compound over time, right? It becomes a bigger and bigger mountain to try and scale.
Totally.
And then the most mundane, simplistic, everyday life item is just too much,
Yeah.
right? And they shut down. And you see it, right? And you see an inability to deal with any sort of inconvenience or challenge in any capacity, right? Somewhat critical feedback on a project, it's the end of the world. Why are you doing this? I feel completely attacked. No, you're not being attacked. You're being told a path to get to where you need to go, and it's just uncomfortable for you, right? And that to me is the greatest shame. Is all of the things aside, that's the biggest issue. Is these people? I won't call them kids, but these people that are at an age where they should be fully self-sufficient. They should be able to look and differentiate between inconvenience and something more negative, right? But they see everything as negative. They see everything as I'm being attacked, I'm being ostracized, I'm whatever. And it's not that. And without that ability to understand and then adapt, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. You're not going to be able to function in the world.
Yeah. Just even like regular disappointment. Our kids need to be disappointed. And I was just thinking, like, us latchkey kids, I don't know about your parents, but my parents left early in the morning.
Yeah.
They were gone, right?
Yeah.
And so we had to get ourselves ready. We had to get
Totally.
ourselves up and ready and fed. They had no clue what we were wearing to school, if we ate breakfast, if we had, like, there was just none of that. We had to figure that out. And so kids just don't have those opportunities, which is a major problem. There's a preoccupation with safety. Right. So this is part of that as well. So their kid, it's not only that they're not getting ready, like parents are prompting every freaking step of the morning routine. Even like I've got kids who are in high school, parents are still prompting them to get up. I just need them to I'm like, leave the house. The best thing for you to do to get your kids out the door is just to leave the house. Let them figure it out. But the safety then, right? Well, I can't let them walk to school. But then, so there's that. And we're being bombarded 24/7 with news, and not just news of what's happening on your street. It's news from around the world, and our brain has a hard time separating, oh, that's happening in Nicaragua or whatever, right? My words aren't very great today. So just all of that. And so they're minimizing any risk, even just normal everyday sort of risk. Economic educational pressures obviously are big ones, right? So it's not just good enough to get 65 to get into university. You have to have 90% and valedictorian and. So it's harder to get into college. And then obviously for the workforce, like we already kind of talked about.
Yeah.
We definitely see, I mean, there's other things too. Maybe I'll leave the description for another day because I think that that's really interesting. Just their thoughts about socialization, gender, sexuality. So, I think that maybe could be a part two, but those are big pieces that we definitely see. Work ethic is definitely changed. So working to live rather than living to work. So they're really prioritizing work-life balance and really making sure that they're finding jobs that align with their interests.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this goes with that comfort, that discomfort. We see that too. Like when Maya was first starting jobs. No, I don't like that. No, that's not interesting. No, no, no. And then she's like getting upset because she can't find a job, but it never aligned with her interests. So we're definitely having that. And they have high expectations for rewards, but very low frustration tolerance for ambiguity or things that they don't like or anything. So that's a problem. Mental health, we talked before about taking on different diagnoses.
Yeah.
But we do see way more anxiety and depression. And I think a lot of it has to do with everything that we've talked about, but they also have this imaginary audience with social media too, right? Where, like we talked about in our previous episode about some of those, it's just that, that's kind of feeding that. And the self-diagnosis is a big problem. And then they're just not engaging in life, right?
Yeah.
They're not seeing friends. They're not having relationships. If they are, they're brief and via text if for any conflict. And
we've got friends that have had kids that graduated and then did nothing for 2 years, right? Yeah. Computer games and snacks, and that was it.
Yeah, I've got lots of friends who still, it's like 4 they could have had a degree at this time, and they're still in the basement.
Yep. And that's, see what you will about our generation and the stoners and all that. They all got out and got mortgages and got jobs and moved on, right? Yeah. So
yeah. So there's lots of things that's going. So I guess what do we do, right? So that our kids, we're not perpetuating because it's just crumbling. And I think the infrastructure of the world is going to crumble if we continue on.
Well, we've already talked about it, right? You need to put them in situations that force them to learn new skills and figure out their own capabilities in certain situations, and then force them to just figure it out, right? And that requires removing yourself from the equation. Other than, like, yesterday I was trying to be very nice and I was offering to drive my kid to the mall, not because I wanted to, but because it was late and I figured she'd have more time. But she's like, no, we'll just take the bus. And in my head, I wasn't thinking, oh man, she shouldn't take the bus at night. I was like, man, that's dumb. Like, you got a nice warm truck that is offering to drive you, but you're going to take 45 minutes to take public transit. But at the end of the day, I'm like, all right, see you later. That's your choice on this situation. Have fun. And it was fine. She got there. She hung out with her friend. She did call Gruber to come pick her up to come home, but whatever. It was like 9 o'clock anyway, so it probably was the right choice.
Well, her friend's parents, I was fine, but her friend's parents didn't want her taking the bus home.
Which,
it's funny, Maya's reaction, you just let her go on the bus? We're like, she's done it a few times. She'll just go, even by herself, not even with a friend. But Maya's like, I had no interest in doing that when I was 14.
No, and she still doesn't, right? She takes the C train, but hates every minute of it, right?
Well, but she never had the opportunity. We always wanted her to go, and she would have. She just didn't have friends who were allowed to.
Yeah, that's fair. That's the problem. And again, that speaks to precisely the problem, right? Because that generation that she's in, she herself comments on them, where she'll come home and be like, girl, you need to figure out what's going on with your life. Like, you need to, she comes home upset. And that to me is an indicator that, and again, not saying that we're perfect, but there are certain core lessons that we have taught them that allow them to recognize that that's probably not the way to operate. But these other people just don't have that self-awareness. So as a parent, or someone that supports a kid at a developmental age, give them the opportunities to fail. Give them the opportunities to learn. Give them the opportunities to come seek out help, not have help hovered over top of them, right? Like, that's the only way you do it, right? Because, and there's no, in this situation, do this, in this situation, do that. It's just in the moment, always ask yourself, is this something they can try and deal with themselves? You're not abandoning them. You can still be there if it gets out of hand and you need to help them, but let them go figure it out.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Try 3 different ways. I know I've talked about this lots, but I'll refer back to it. It's Stephen Covey's Green and Clean. You can just go into YouTube and put Green and Clean Covey. And he talks about stewardshipness, right? And how we do need to step back and let our kids figure it out. And it's so easy for us to step in and be like, dude,
Yeah,
you got to do this. Go and do this, right? And that's that sort of to-do list. Step 1, step 2, and we're breaking it down. They need to figure out how to break tasks down themselves,
100%.
how to get started. But that's a great example of how we bite our tongue, give them the job, let them figure it out. We're still there if they need to come, ask for support or the next step or whatever, but we're not giving it. We're not jumping in and fixing it for them. We're there as a guide.
100%.
All righty. How are you doing? Are you still mad at me?
I'm mad at you. I'm just disappointed.
Disappointed in what?
Just the lack of credit I get.
But I thanked you. The whole thing started with me thanking you in the first place.
That's true. For one, I'm looking for thanks on both. That didn't happen.
Because there's only one. But...
Nope. I'm going to use your method. Nope. Nope. Nope.
Good day.
Nope.